Oh, our intro didn't work.
No.
And we lost our guests.
Jiminy Christmas.
Actually, I see him sitting in the green room. So let's do this. There we go. We are back with episode number 306.
Gosh, it's crazy.
It is. But today we have two guests with us, and I'm going to bring them back on. I don't know why they kicked off to begin with, because they were right below us before. And there we are. So we got TJ. Everybody knows TJ because he's Peter Steele fan, and he's always on there typing up comments and stuff in the comment section. And then Phil King, who is now a member of Forbode as well.
And Hammerthrone. Yep.
So, but before we get into all that kind of fun stuff, let's do our normal thing. Anybody got anything they want to shout out or say, Steve?
Nope, I'm all good today.
I did one. I gave this thing a listen again today. I haven't heard it in forever. But we were having a discussion about it. What was it, last week? And
I actually did a whole hour with Trevor Crash, the Crash Course Metal podcast.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good record.
I don't think I've heard that one before.
I haven't heard it for 20 years.
I hadn't heard it in forever either. It's okay. The cover of Pump It Up is embarrassing. The cover of Bitch is pretty bad. The Rolling Stones song.
Yeah.
They should have just.
That's why you should have bought the Japanese pressing, because you would have had the two best songs that they left off as bonus tracks for the Japanese pressing, and they could have left those silly B-sides for the B-side. But oh well.
Yep.
That didn't happen.
A lot of it, I think, the reason it's so weak is it's not actually. There's a lot of good riffs on here, and the guitar tones are good, but the whole recording is pretty flat. It doesn't have a whole lot of ebbs and flows in it. It's just flat. I listened to it, and I cranked it in my Mustang today, and it just doesn't have it needs to be remastered is what it needs. And those two bonus tracks, those two covers, either taken off or thrown on the end for bonus tracks.
Well, remember that it was the 90s, early 90s. They had just signed to Capitol. They got zero support from them, and Capitol said, "No, you can't use where you've been recording. We got a guy."
Yep.
So he, all these mitigating factors, plus they didn't get pushed, they didn't get, whatever, and they just wanted to put something out. So, as mentioned, I think that the album gets an unfair shake, but it's doggone sure better than Saint Anger. So, that's all I can say.
Well, that's not really saying much, is it?
That's not much of a bar.
Well, yeah, it may not be, but it's better. And people ask me all the time, well, why do you have an EQ in every room on every system? Well, because when I listen to Force of Habit, I make it sound great because I can. So anyway, this isn't the Force of Habit episode of the Metal Roundtable, because we've got two stellar dudes down below us. In fact, I was looking back on our history, and let's see, TJ, I think you and Eddie were on episode 53 and 94. I think you and Eddie were on 53. That was the one upstairs in my record room.
We talk about production value all the time, but yeah, that was when we were on the laptop, all standing in the same room together.
Yeah, that's right. That was 53, and then 94. I think you were actually on a camera or something. But anyhow, and then you did the live birthday party. Live at Casa de Carcass, and that was a barn burner, man.
That was a hell of a time, man. That was like a hour and 15-minute set. We played every song. We debuted a song. Yeah, that was a good time.
One of your hosts actually sang on a song. Well, I didn't really sing.
That's right.
I didn't really sing. I evoked my inner TJ Lewis and tried to follow the master himself. But then you had a very patriotic ending, and we yeah, it was a great. If you have a chance, check it out. Look up Forbode live at the Casa de Carcas and be entertained for an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh,
I was just
yes.
watching it the other day, actually. So
Yeah, fun time.
A few times myself.
In fact, I broke this out the other day.
oh,
So
I don't even have one of those.
yeah,
What is that?
Well,
What was that?
I thought I had more than one, but I don't. But this is a killer visual that I guess Guillermo put together.
Yeah.
But it comes
Oh, it's a DVD? Or
Yeah,
This
what
is
is it?
this,
no, it's
VHS.
VHS.
it's a VHS.
Oh, VHS.
yeah.
Yeah.
Phil has one of the. We actually did another round of
The
those.
new
Phil
ones.
has the second copy. So
Yeah.
somewhere. over
Sweet. Yeah. So, and I still have VCRs in the house, laser discs. My 8 tracks have gone the way of the dodo, and I got rid of my last reel-to-reel about 4 months ago. So,
Yeah, I've got
Still
some
doing it.
collectors laser disc. I've got like Lost Boys and The Thing
oh yeah,
laser discs. Yeah.
gotta have the The Thing is one of those movies that I have every format of. But anyway, so
I got this laser karaoke masterpiece right here.
look at you.
Nice.
Look at that.
I
This
don't
is being
have
shipped to
that.
Texas.
Yeah,
This is going to Carcass is going to own this one soon.
yeah. Well,
Anyhow, hey, before we move on to your picks of the week, George G's Room of Rock mentioned the New Armored Saint. Have you guys heard the New Armored Saint song?
No.
It kicks butt. It's one of the best songs I've heard from them in a long time. I really liked it. So them touring for the last 2 years must have kicked them in the ass because they just came out with a barn burner. If anybody cares to order the new album, you can order the numbered copy of the Serene vinyl from BoonesOverstock.com now. It's already on sale, and they only have 300 copies of those. So if anybody's interested, or you can order direct from Metal Blade as well. But they don't have the numbered Serene copy. That's only at Boone's Overstock.
I do like the album art on it.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it was actually done by an artist. It's not AI for a change. So
Nice.
anyhow,
get out of town. Really, an artist did it?
yes.
My brother.
Anyhow.
Yesterday I was on a podcast with Trevor Crash and Brandon Baddock and some of our other friends. But anyway, I said that the best Armored Saint record was Anthrax's "The Greater of Two Evils" album. I thought Bush sounded great, but
I liked Bush with I liked them with Anthrax.
I'll check it out. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. Some of their early stuff, I think it's the normal course of heavy metal. The early stuff is great, but the later stuff is.
Their last couple albums I listened to once and got rid of.
So are they pretty much the same? There's John Bush and who else from
It's all the same guys who have been playing in the band for the last 20 years, 25 years, however it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody but John Bush from the original band.
No. It's mostly the original band, but the original guitar player passed away in 1980, 1990, somewhere in 91. Yeah, he passed away. He had, I can't remember what disease he got. But anyhow, other than that, it's all the same guys in the band. So same, everybody, bass player, drummer, everybody's the same. So.
Well, I'm morbidly curious, and I will check it out. And
I saw them twice in the last couple of years, and they were just on point on stage. They were fantastic. So anyhow,
well, they are pro. They've been around 35 years or
yeah,
more?
and all those guys also play in other bands. I mean, every single one of them plays another. Obviously, Bush was in Anthrax forever, but hey, but we're just blowing time, so let's get into this. And by the way, John, I picked a couple too, so I'm going to join you on this one.
Okay. Right on. I love that riff, and I love the segment.
Good riff.
In fact, I think that we started this, TJ, when you were holding the original copy of Black Sabbath's first album in your hands. That was still
one of my
sealed.
favorite pictures, man.
Yeah. Okay, so I do a rock pick of the week and I do a metal pick of the week. So my rock pick of the week, for some strange reason, I've harkened back to my childhood and
Good one. Star
This is
Castle,
their,
good prog.
this is their third one. This is before it got really weird and corporate.
It got weird on the fourth one.
Yeah,
that cover got really weird.
They went shirtless and wore silky pants and whatever. But anyway, I love Star Castle for the obvious reasons. And the Citadel, this is a mint. I don't think this thing's ever been played, and it's a promo copy, white label, and I had to have it. Of course, it was $6. So you can find the Fountains of Light and their self-titled one just about anywhere. And if you find them, pick them up. And then
if you like Yes and Genesis or Yes and Kansas, you'll dig them.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. In fact, Terry Luttrell, if you're going to music trivia, Terry Luttrell, the vocalist for Star Castle, who's right there, was the original vocalist for REO Speedwagon. So let that one kind of sink in. He was on the first album, and then later went the way of the dodo too. So
Just
anyway,
gave away your metal pick.
But my metal pick, I mean, of course, I had to do this. They debuted they debuted these songs, notably the Bane of Hammers and the Pit of Suffering. Good grief, man! It was so heavy. I think my walls are still crumbling. I've sprayed them with epoxy to try and keep the deterioration from happening. But anyway, if you can find this, please find it and support. I mean, Forbode is a local band to me, but not really. They're bigger and they're better than that. And all their projects that they've been connected to, including what we're going to talk about today, the Hammerthrone project, I'm super excited about. So those are my two picks of the week: Star Castle, Citadel, and the mighty Forbode.
Cool. I picked for a rock pick. I'm going to switch you out with me so I can see what I'm showing there. This is the Hughes Thrall album, which I think is the only one they ever did. Glenn Hughes, obviously from Deep Purple, and Pat Thrall from the Pat Travers Band, and they just put out a great, solid, hard rock record. It looked a little silly, but it was the 80s. But do you have this one, John?
I do have that one. In fact, I have a green. It's either a 12-inch single but it's just got a green cover and it says Hughes Thrall on it.
And then for my metal pick is this one I've just been playing over and over again. This is Eviction. The world is hours away, and it's crossover thrash metal from Pittsburgh. This album was 1989, 1990, somewhere around that range. This was their first album on the label. This came out on Metal Blade Records. So there you go. Eviction. The world is hours away. And Hughes Thrall. Those are my two picks.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let me come on. There we go. And we are back. Okay, so let's first of all get rid of that. Put this up there, and go ahead and John, take it over. I'm home at my home by myself, and I'm locked in my little office. Someone just walked into my house, so I need to go check and see who that is. So I will be back in just a moment.
Wow,
very foreboding.
So if you hear a large,
the dogs aren't
if you hear a very large bang or something, call and check on me or something.
Yeah, we'll send the Marines. So TJ, you and I have known each other for what, like 5 or 6 years? 7 or 8 years, maybe.
Yeah, 2019, I think, is when we met.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, and I still remember my drive. I did a flip turn one night. I drove down at some bar where the stage was kind of on the side of the bar instead of you had to walk through several places, and then it was kind of in the middle of the bar. And then, anyway, it was like a super narrow place. And I remember the first time I saw you, I was just blown away. I thought, these dudes are the heaviest, most crushing, down-tuned, sludgy. It was. I described it to somebody as heat-soaked misery, and it was just the perfect description. But anyway, that being said,
was it the Ridgely Room the first time?
No, not the Ridgely Room. I saw you there, and then I said I got to see these guys again, and I drove down there. I think that.
Okay.
I drove down and just came back after you guys played. I didn't even stick around for anybody else. In fact, there was like not Bridges of Madison County, but there was some band called The Bridge or
Bridge Farmers.
Bridge Farmers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, I don't want to make you think too much about that because we're going to talk about the future. But so Forbode is kind of foreboding. They're kind of on a hiatus right now. We know that Eddie has moved on, and you had another guitarist and now another drummer, and then Phil joined the gang, and now
Phil?
Guillermo, who was kind of the driving force in Forbode, has moved, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, we were broken up for like right. I mean, right after we put out a Bit of Suffering was kind of like, the end of it all because Eddie had just moved. Guillermo left the band. It was just me and Zach at that time, and it was like that for, I guess, 3 years. And then Guillermo and Zach and I had all been kind of starting to hang out again after a good long while. And Phil actually kind of saved the day, man, because I remember, what was it, like 2024? I was in Mexico for my sister-in-law's wedding, and Phil sent me a video of him playing the Metal Slug, and he's like, "So, you guys trying out anybody soon or what?" He like, I guess I don't know. Maybe Phil, you were privy to the
You
fact
just
that we were
did.
hanging out again, but he sent it to us, and we weren't planning to talk about getting back together yet, but Phil kind of forced our hand, and we had a big comeback show in August of 2024, which unfortunately was the day he got married, but also fortunately, congratulations on that. That show went over crazy, and then 2025 we played, I think, 8 shows with Phil, and then Dave joined the band kind of around November of 2025. So yeah, we played about 8 shows, and then right around I want to say November. Was it November?
I want to say November. I want to say November.
October or November or something. Guillermo let us know that he was moving to Tacoma, Washington, and he's the only other original member besides me. So, we have plans to maybe one day play some shows again if once he gets settled down, and maybe he can come down. We had written like a new song that we were starting to play live, and had some old songs that we were starting to hash out again that we were hoping to get in the studio and record. So hopefully that'll happen one day. But for now, it's kind of a little bit of a hiatus for a bit. But we were on such a high playing those shows that we we're just like, well, what the hell, man? What are we gonna do? He's moved, and we were playing all these shows, and we're getting some momentum. And yeah, Phil had sent me we ended up calling it Hammerthrone, but they were just demos at the time. He had sent me back in, I think, 2022. And at that time, I just wasn't in a good place to be able to move on from Forbode. So we did give it a name though back then. We gave it the name, and I had written some lyrics just to try and see if I could, get going with it again. And then it, with Forbode getting back together and stuff, that kind of got all put on the back burner. But yeah, as soon as Guillermo told us he was moving and he had moved and stuff, we decided, let's try to keep the momentum going. Let's do some death metal shit. And I think Phil wrote those songs, the songs that are going to be on the EP, with the exception of one song. I think he wrote all those like in 2015 or something. So they predate a lot of Texas death metal, a lot of the stuff you hear now that's kind of in the same style as like, Gate Creeper and kind of the more like punk and hardcore leaning death metal stuff. So it's really cool, man. Like I think Phil can agree. Like this first time we practiced as just a 3-piece, it was like, I think we all kind of were like, damn, this is gonna go over really well with people. So yeah.
Well, introduce yourself. Introduce Phil.
Yeah. Go ahead, Phil. Take it away, man. Tell us about yourself.
Oh man. So I've been playing in bands for what feels like 20 plus years now. I've got a couple solo projects I've done and put out. Nothing like super intense or anything like that. Well, like when in my 20s, I was in a band called Bethlehem, which is an anagram for the bleeding, because we thought we were clever. That was very like Swedish melodic death influence, kind of like Old in Flames, Old at the Gates, kind of that kind of stuff, but also very like there's some good riffs and whatnot in it, but it has that kind of like amateur, like high school band kind of feel a little bit in a way that's hard to describe. But when you hear it, you can be like, give that a couple more years and that'll be really sick. That kind of thing. And then when I moved to Texas from Virginia, because that was the Virginia band I was in, I joined Disfigured as another guitar player for a little bit. I was in another band with Mike DeLeon, Prolicide, who were playing kind of more brutal death type stuff. I was in Horror Bethlehem for a good 10 odd years. And then we had falling out with the members there over some stuff I won't get into here, but it didn't end very well. And then shortly thereafter, that's when I started kicking around like on the Forbode stuff, because I remember talking with Eddie and TJ about it. And I don't want to paraphrase Eddie, but he was like, if someone's got to succeed me, like there's a handful of people that I think would be cool to do the job, and I was one of the people on the short list. So I always felt kind of like that helped give me an in. And so I just started learning the songs on my own, just listening to them and playing along with them. Showed them to TJ, like you said, and then that kind of kicked things into gear. And then the show we played at Lost Well was kind of like a bittersweet one, because it was like a coming back, but also a send off for Zach. Because Zach came to the group and he was like, you know what, guys, like this is cool, but like I don't got it in me anymore to do this properly. But I never got a send off show, and that's kind of like where that kind of collided in such a way. So after that show, we were looking for a new drummer. We found Dave. Dave's sick. He hits the drums hard, and basically he's a great dude. And then we started messing around with the tracks again for Hammerthrone, but by the time Guillermo was like, hey, like I'm gonna move or whatever, and we had all this momentum kicking around, like we almost like the next practice transitioned into like a Hammerthrone practice in a way, because that was early November last year is when we first kind of like jammed around with some stuff. And so we've already recorded this EP by February, right? We've got a handful more songs as well that we've got both in progress and worked on. So we're moving pretty quick with this one, but like with a deliberate purpose. And like for me, the sludge aspect that made Forbode so heavy was something I kind of wanted to keep as a part of moving into the Hammerthrone stuff. So a lot of the stuff we're writing now as a group versus what I wrote like when I was putting the demos together or whatever, it's very like, that's too fast. Let's slow it down. There's a lot of that happening, because it's like as soon as you start going a little too crazy, like I don't think that's the goal. That's not what we're trying to do with Hammerthrone.
If I can interject something, I think that's more the trend these days when you look at Tribal Gaze or Frozen Soul, Mortiferum, Mortuous, bands like that are, I think, on the top of the metal heap with this new kind of doomy, sludgy, slower version of death metal. And and I don't know why I thought this, but when TJ said, hey, can you do something with the logo, for some reason I thought Hammerthrone sounded more like a power metal band. And so I don't know, I remember what I sent you, and I'm just like, I don't know that this is what this, I can't see TJ doing a Kai Hansen imitation anytime soon. So anyway, but I dig the logo. I like the crushing sound of the record. I haven't been looking forward to a new release like this one since I heard some of the scratch tracks for the new Gamma side. So Hammerthrone is I can't wait. I can't wait for Friday, and I'm hoping I can get my hands on one of the tapes. But so I think, to your point, I think it's interesting when bands kind of go their separate ways. There's some drama there, whether there was drama or not. I mean, it's hard to. I've still maintained my friendship with Eddie. I know he's off doing his thing in another state, and he still has a love for music, still playing music. And so for him to give you the ringing endorsement, Phil, to, you'd be a good guy to take his place, I think that says something about the integrity of the band. But so will Forbode, putting Forbode kind of on the back burner, Hammerthrone is kind of the hybrid then. It's kind of spawned from the sludge of Forbode and become Hammerthrone. Is that probably an accurate statement?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had a couple of people ask me already, like, is this are you renaming the band, or is it the same band? And this is a completely new band, but with like a lot of the influences, I think, from sludge side of it. I mean, there's some bluesy riffs, kind of, death metal-y bluesy riffs in there for sure and stuff. And I think we're already writing some new stuff, and like we have a song that we're code naming Crow Throne because it sounds more like Crowbar if it was death metal and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of that sludge influence in this, and it's probably just going to continue to grow like in that direction the more we start to write. But
I've said it before. I think the slower death metal is the heaviest stuff that's out there. It always has been. Going back to the fourth bolt thrower record where they slowed it down. That's one of the heaviest death metal records of all time.
Fourth Crusade, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that Paramecium album.
Yeah.
That's another one.
That thing is so slow, man, and that double bass is sick.
oh yeah.
So with this newfound energy and I guess the lineup is solid now. What about playing more shows? Maybe coming to Dallas. I promise you don't have to play my living room unless you want to, but we can find a proper venue for you to play in. But is there any plans for touring?
So there's things going on in the background with some other friends of ours that we won't talk about too much because there's particulars around that, and we don't want to say something that doesn't actually result in anything either. But we are definitely looking to and utilizing contacts and whatnot that we have as a part of our previous bands and whatnot to try and get ourselves out to places like Dallas, Houston, San Antonio.
Well, it's not like you signed a non-compete with any of your previous bands, right?
No,
I mean, come on.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah, that would be sad.
No, I think the really cool thing, especially for like I know a lot of people in the death metal scene. I just have never played in a death metal band before. Like, I'm good friends with Chad from Frozen Soul. I know the guys in Tribal Gaze really well. One of my good friends is in Mutilation Barbecue, and he works with the singer of Creeping Death, like to do booking. I think it's called Blind Dogs booking and stuff. So I think we plan to, utilize some of those friends to help us kind of figure out some of that. And yeah, definitely. I think Dallas is probably, as far as like Texas death metal goes, Dallas is kind of a mecca. So like, as soon as we can get up there, that'd be freaking sick. And I'd love to, Forbode played a lot of shows in Austin, especially right before COVID. Our big goal, like before COVID happened, was to kind of play more outside of Austin. And I think that's kind of, at least for me, kind of the approach I want to take is, let's do weekends and, hit Houston, and then maybe next weekend we hit Dallas if we can do it and stuff like that.
Or Albuquerque.
Sure. Yeah, Albuquerque. Man,
Santa Fe.
I'd love to go out of state. I've never played a show out of state in my life, so I'd love to do it.
Just remember, Texas is the size of like half of Europe. So
yeah, remind me, and I'll hook you up with Augustine from the band. Help me out there, John. What's the name of the band? I always have a hard time with it. Come on. Anyhow, I'll yeah, that one.
Yeah. Dysphotic.
Old. There you go. Dysphotic.
Yeah, they're
Dysphotic are from Santa Fe. They play quite a few shows. Maybe there's some way you guys can trade off a couple gigs, from Texas or Santa Fe or Albuquerque or anywhere in between,
Yeah.
I am absolutely open to conversation with anybody that wants to have one about.
Oh, there you go. Utilizing some of those previous relationships to
just text me or something later on and remind me, and I'll get you his information so you get to introduce yourself to each other. But they are they're more of a techie death metal band, but there's still, you guys would go great together. They'd probably get along really good too.
Origin meets Malevolent Creation.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
they got some chops.
Yeah, they got chops. How long have they been around, Scott? They've been around since 2015?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just releasing their second album this year, so on their own again. Well, unless I can get them on a label, which I'm pushing for.
But if you know Chad Green, you get on his coattails because he's a man. I watched Frozen Soul's first gig. And then I watched their second gig, and they told me, "Yeah, we're out of town. We're headed out of town. And I thought, man, that's pretty quick. But those dudes work hard. And I'll tell you right now, one of my fondest memories is watching Forbode play at the Division Brewery.
Oh, yeah, man.
And TJ comes up to me and he goes, "You see that band over there?" And I said, Tribal Gaze? Yeah. He said, "Just buy everything on their table." And I haven't even heard him. And he goes, "You don't need to. Just buy everything on the table." So I did. And man, Tribal Gaze is another one that really kicked me in the tail feathers. They're absolutely brilliant. So if you can't check them out, but man, it sounds like, I think you might be right that this area, DFW and Longview and kind of those small extensions, and I mean power trips from around here.
I think that was kind of the whole one of the things that we talked about early on was like, Dallas Fort Worth has so, like, you got Creeping Death, you got Flesh Rot, Frozen Soul, Tribal Gaze. I'm probably forgetting a few, but they're kind of like the leaders in the way of Texas death metal, and there's not really a whole lot of that sound that's coming out of Central Texas. So let's do it. Let's go for it. And we've planned out this release. Thankfully, we've all been really good about kind of hiding all this stuff and not sharing too much, practice videos and doing all that like we did with Forbode back in the day. We've tried to keep it under wraps, but I think the way we've planned it out with the release coming this Friday and then 2 weeks later is the show, I think after that we'll really start to maybe see some some traction, something growing a little bit more, and I think that's when hopefully we'll start to see more show offers coming our way and stuff. So yeah. Man.
So where do you see the band in 6 months, and where do you see the band in a year?
You have a 5-year plan. Just kidding.
No, I mean, it's obviously you've mapped this thing out pretty carefully, so I think that's a legitimate question.
No, yeah,
I think I'll jump into the 6 months one. I think 6 months we'll probably want to at least try to establish ourselves locally, hopefully within the trifecta, right? Houston, Dallas, and then Austin, kind of San Antonio area. But then having enough songs to decide whether we want to pursue a full album release, or maybe we're just in an era where like it makes more sense to do 4 or 5 song EPs like every year to 2 years, right? It's one of the things where it's like a lot of major releases is still a great thing, but as an up and coming artist, it almost feels beneficial potentially to do things like a singles. Then here's another 3-song album, and we're playing it live, and you can check it out, and you can buy it, and you can enjoy it, and we'll do it again in another 6 months or another 8 months or whatever, and just kind of like a quick. It almost like accommodates the speed nowadays, I suppose.
That's interesting you say that, because I heard from Sean Killian of Violence, and he said, "I'll never record another full-length record. It'll just be EPs because they're just easier." And of course,
people got short attention spans, man.
Yeah, and Violence has a massive catalog too, so they can harken back to those songs and play a couple of new ones. But
EPs are way harder to sell.
EPs are harder to sell.
Way harder. Nobody wants the EPs. Way harder to sell.
Unless it's on cassette tape. Because I mean, I don't know. This is more of a demo here, but this one right here just blew the doors off as far as like Texas death metal goes. I think like when it came out in 2019, and this was like one of the most sought after vinyls tapes that came out that year, and probably still. I mean, if you go on Discogs, this is probably worth some money now. But this is only four songs.
I think I saw them at a place called Three Links with.
Was it Dying Fetus they played with?
It seemed like it was Necrot, Exhumed, and either Toxic Holocaust or Blood Incantation. No, it was Blood Incantation, Exhumed, and Necrot, and Frozen. So that was like one of their first or second shows. I think their second show was at Gas Monkey when it was still the Gas Monkey. And
I remember that happened. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
I was going to say I bought the tape, to your point, because I had to have something from them.
Yeah.
And that's
all. They'll be here in a couple weeks.
Frozen Soul.
Yeah, they're open. They're opening for Avatar. Is it Avatar they're opening for?
come on
Yeah,
tomorrow.
they're doing a big tour. Avatar, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who they're opening for, but I would go just to see them and then probably go home early.
Yeah, it's I just looked it up. It's them, Flesh God, Apocalypse, and Avatar. I'm not interested in either of the other bands, but
Go see them.
Flesh got quite a few
Kick-ass,
times,
dude.
and it's cool live, but it's like it's so musically like it's just a lot going on, and it's sort of like, and then they got opera singers and all that. No, Flesh God.
Oh, Flesh God, yeah.
They go over the top on the
and it's very tight, but at the same time, it's like I couldn't like hum a riff for you from any of the songs. It's kind of like, but it's super technical and like impressive and a very cool live show.
Well, we got to see
I prefer my flesh rotting.
Oh yeah, there you go. We got to see Frozen Soul on the Headbangers Boat a couple years ago, and to see him once in a like a regular tour cycle, but to see him 3 times in 1 week, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, we're talking about wrecking necks, but once again, to your point, the riffs are slower, they're sludgier, and they're still heavy, and it's still death metal. So I think maybe that's kind of the new wave of modern death metal would be more along those lines. The Tomb Mold, although Blood Incantation may be in a different stratosphere because they have so much happening. You talk about so much happening, Phil. I mean, seeing them live is almost exhausting because there's so much happening all at once.
It's good though, because so many death metal bands for 20 plus years have been just trying to play as fast as they could, and they all just sounded the same for the longest time. And when you slow it down, you got to have bluesier riffs. You got to add more to it, when you're playing slower. Yeah, gives you a little more room for originality.
I think we hit critical mass collectively. There were so many bands going so fast and so tight and so technical, and it was all like mind blowing. Like you had your Archspires and the Faces back in the day, and it's just kind of, it's so technically and musically impressive. But there's quite a lot of that going on now, right? So it feels almost up, and so we're in like this new wave of old school death metal. People that are kind of like, old like Hypocrisy, like obscene Hypocrisy, and like old Immolation, even some of the old Morbid Angel songs, right? Like they're known for speed in a lot of cases, but some of their songs are really slow, kind of trudge along with a fast picking but a slow drums or something like that. It's just
going back to the Bolt Thrower, when that Bolt Thrower came out, Fourth Crusade, everybody criticized it, and that was their argument. Everybody's trying to be so fast, we just wanted to slow it down and show you how heavy we can be. And it's kind of that cycle happening again,
Bolt Thrower is kind of the blueprint right now for death metal, especially here in Texas. So yeah, the one band for me that I just keep going back to, because I'm more of that's kind of the crazy thing about Hammerthrone is like Phil is the long, like old head death metal guy. I come from like punk hardcore, but I've listened to death metal, especially old school, like since I was a kid. Dave is older than us by he's older than me by like 20 years or something, but he grew up in New York City, so he was a punk hardcore guy. And then Luke is also just a through and through death metal guy. So it's like all that stuff comes together, and I think that like that's like pulling from Bolt Thrower, pulling from, some Celtic Frost, pulling from these things is what, mixing it all together is kind of what makes our state's death metal unique in a way. But I was going to say the one band I keep going back to is Benediction. So I can't stop listening to old Benediction, and even their new stuff is pretty fucking good too. I know that was Barney Greenway's old band, but the dude that replaced him,
is that Jeff Ingram?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I love watching their videos live, and he's just like roar, like he does that shit live.
Well, he did a stint in Bolt Thrower for an hour or two.
That's right.
So there's nothing wrong with Benediction. They're awesome.
Great, incredible.
I have probably a stupid question, but what do you guys tune to generally?
What do you think we're tuned to? Have you heard the song, the single, or the? The EP.
I mean, I've only heard the two.
They're half a
EPs
step
for
down
both.
from D.
So Forbode is in C standard,
Oh, okay.
and Hammerthrone is in B standard. B. I mean, it's fairly like standard fare, like Volter is B standard for a lot of stuff. Obituary. Yeah,
B, man,
great.
that's low.
It is.
Does it? Do you have to? I'm not a guitar player. I play drums and I sang in bands for years, but I never was a guitar player. But how does that affect the guitar? Because it seems like the strings would not be as. How do you get it all? It just seems like it would make it a mess.
It does if you're playing with strings that are too light. So right now I'm playing with 62s.
Okay.
Which is like thicker than if you were to get a 7-string off the rack at your Guitar Center.
Uh-huh.
My low strings are thicker than those.
Wow.
And that's really just to make sure there's enough tension that things aren't bending.
So you're basically playing a high bass string is your
as
low
my
string.
low. Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's cool. I was always curious about that when people, most thrash bands are, what, D major or E flat or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, E flat or D standard.
Yeah.
I like the idea. They were talking about doing I don't know if they created it. They were talking about doing an auto tune for guitars where you could set your strings to feel and then use the auto tune box to actually tune the sound coming out of it. And I thought that was interesting because I like the sound, or I like the feel of double drop D on when I play. I don't necessarily like the sound of it. I like that feel though of how loose the strings are and the vibration of it. But yeah, it'd be cool to be able to tune it to feel and then have a box.
Last time I was visiting Eddie, he showed me this new pedal he has on his board that's like he pushes the pedal and it like down tunes his guitar like just on the fly, like to whatever he has it set to. And he can also kind of use it as like how like in Rage Against the Machine he does the like all that stuff. Like you can use it to do that, which I thought was crazy. But yeah, auto tuning a guitar sounds wild. I'd love to see that. It like turns the knobs and everything automatically.
No, it takes it out of the pickups. It takes output from the pickups and actually tunes it in the box, so you can have your strings however you want them to feel.
Hell yeah!
So I thought that was I'd never.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, the auto tuning stuff is
I'm just a vocalist. I don't know. I try to learn so much from these guys. I play with so many great guitar players: Phil, Eddie, Eric, all these guys. Man, they got all different stuff they use, and I try to keep up, man.
I'm more of a
air
rhythm
guitar
guy,
player.
Yeah, I play air guitar on stage for almost 20 years.
I was about to say when he's singing, he's playing air guitar while he's singing.
Mm-hmm.
I always fuck up when I'm playing air guitar because whenever the note goes down, I don't go up, I go down. And I remember Guillermo used to call me out for that a lot. He'd be like, "Dude, you're doing it wrong. If the note's going down, you got to go the other way."
Yeah, you got to go the other way, but.
I'm still learning air guitar too.
When I was on stage, sometimes what I would do is there's parts of certain songs where I'd get behind one of the guitar players, grab one of the picks off their mic, and I'd play the bottom strings while they were playing the top strings. That was a lot of fun to do. But
hell yeah.
That's about my extent of guitar playing. But that was a lot of fun to do. People loved it when we started doing that kind of crap on stage. So
yeah.
We had a listener say that Forbode needs some restocks on Bandcamp.
Yeah,
They're all sold out.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're not a museum, right? You want to sell everything out.
I think once we play this first Hammerthrone show, any of the leftover stuff I might put up on our Bandcamp, and that might be a good time to put up some of the leftover Forbode stuff too. Just been out of pure laziness, to be honest with you, man. I'm terrible about it. But yeah, we still have some shirts and some CDs, some tapes, tons of stickers. So it'll be up soon. Just keep an eye out.
Any vinyls left, right? We're out of vinyls for Forbode.
No, yeah, we don't have any more vinyls. Well, I mean, you can still buy the vinyls. They're from the label. It's based in the Netherlands. But in my experience, when the guy has shipped us the vinyls to sell, they get here pretty quick. In fact, it's almost like maybe a week longer than it would be domestically. So I know people are sometimes discouraged by buying vinyl from Europe, but if you want to buy the vinyl from the label,
Just a dirty little secret. I think the Dutch have something with what is it? KLF, the delivery, the yellow trucks with the red stripe.
Yeah.
DHL.
Or DHL.
KLF.
KLF is the airline.
I'm thinking of KLF. I'm thinking of the band. Okay. Anyway, they have a deal with them where domestically they can ship for a flat rate, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it fits in the box or whatever. But I think that they're one of the few European countries that actually has a connection to the U.S. because of DHL, and so that's probably why they get here so quick. Don't try and buy something from Italy, though. Good grief. I remember when we did the Gamacide box set. I mean, they literally threw them in a burlap bag that was wrapped with plastic, and then just threw it on the truck, and that's the way they arrived. So it was hard to find some that didn't have a corner bent or whatever. I mean, the records all arrived, but wasn't exactly, and it took 37 days, I think. We'd have to talk to Rick.
There it is.
There it is.
I do have an original copy.
Is that an original pressing?
It's
or
an
is
original
it
pressing?
Oh, yeah.
1989,
Yeah, you can send your kid to school now.
yeah.
You can sell that and send your kid to
And
school.
then go buy the repressing, because that thing sounds amazing.
You should try. You should probably add that to your collection, TJ.
I'm serious.
the-
That vinyl reissue it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
It's like night and day compared to the original.
Yeah, I need to get it. And I was so bummed because they played Austin when I was at wedding things, and I was at my sister's wedding in Boston, so I missed the date here in Austin. But I was able to get my hands on one of the shirts when they put them up, so I was really.
I will say my lungs are still burning from all the smoke at their show.
I watched
the band
the
go as over the top as Gamacide does with the smoke.
yeah. I watched the full set from them at the Lost Well. It looked like it was a fucking awesome time.
Yeah, they were great. When they came to Atlanta, they were awesome.
So cool, man. I'm so glad they're
Sorry.
back. That's a band Carcass told me, and Eddie too. Eddie was privy to Gamacide whenever I met Eddie. So that was a band you guys told me about early on. So shout out to you guys for showing me Gamacide so long ago. And also probably my favorite Texas death metal record of all time. Of course.
War Master.
Of course it is. I don't know that anything will ever touch that thing again. The EP didn't, and I know Daniel left and wasn't doing the vocals, and I thought Rahi from Insect Warfare did an admirable job, but they were just never the same after he left.
I got them all right here, man. I'm ready to go with the Texas records today. Look at that.
What do you think of Terror Corpse?
Oh, Terror Corpse is crazy. The Into Crypts of Rays cover they do on that record is so crazy. It works somehow. It almost doesn't work, but it does. Like it's an incredible record. And I was lucky enough. My buddy Justin, the guy, he shoots all of our photos and stuff. He introduced me to Matt from Terror Corpse, and so I'm in touch with him now too. So that's another person we're in touch with. But yeah, dude, Terror Corpse is killer. Oh,
That's another good Texas death metal band for sure.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Dauber Beverly is I mean, if you have to, if there's a Dave Lombardo like drummer that you could just throw into a pile of 10 of the best drummers for metal or death metal, he's gonna probably be one of them.
Dauber,
Yeah.
He's a machine.
Yeah.
I want to see some of those records behind you, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is new, man. Since I've been on the show, I got the production value here. So
Man, look
got
at you.
the record player, got the tape player here, got the stereo, and
I see you got
Yeah,
that
man,
that one sticker that said I went to the Creeping Death show and all I got was this bumper sticker.
oh yeah, yeah. It says I went to a Creeping Death music video shoot, and all I got was the stupid sticker. I think that was
Yeah.
the last time I saw you in Dallas. We were at that show.
Yeah, and Steph got her eyebrow busted by some guy's boot. Remember the guy that was running down the
Oh,
bar
yeah,
and
yeah,
stage
yeah.
diving?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did grab a couple just because I wanted to show some Texas death metal records that I've been listening to for a little bit that influenced
Well, go
me.
for it, man.
But
We got
this one right here is
Cleric.
huge. This is Cleric. Man, I wish they would play more often. But we played with them when we played with Frozen Soul over there at the Gas Monkey when Forbode did, and I mean they blew my doors off. Man.
Was Chris Bonner in that band, or was that Wyatt Burton from Steel Bearing Hand?
Chris is in Steel Bearing Hand, I think.
Okay.
Speaking of which, I think I pulled that one too. But
They're another Dallas band too, right? Steel Bearing
Yeah,
Hand.
sure are. They just played Hell's Heroes.
yeah, that's so sick. Yeah, yeah, this record here, man, Slaying Hell. This is an ass kicker, man. And shout out to Carcass John for the logo.
I did their EP. I did their cover, and I did a T-shirt design for them.
I got a quick funny story. So I found they did a 7-inch a couple years ago with Kiss covers, and it had really killer artwork on the cover. And I pulled it out. I showed it to John. I was like, "You got to check out this band, man. They do these killer Kiss covers." He's like, "Yeah, I did that. I did the logo for the band."
Yeah, it's such a cool logo, man. It's a very cool logo. It's very it's just different. Like I love the arm holding the sword and everything.
That was actually a collaboration with Sawblade, with Daniel Sawblade Shaw of Warmaster. He's like, I just don't know, what does this need? And I said, well, let me clean it up. Because it was just so stick figure like, I guess. And but anyway, we did the same thing on the Toxic Holocaust. Remember when they wanted to stack the logo, or Joel said, I want to stack my logo so people can read it. And so that was Conjured Command. But that turned out good. They're a great band, by the way.
When I first heard this record, I didn't like everybody had told me, dude, you got to check out this death metal band, Steel Bearing Hand. But then you hear the first song on this record, and it's almost like a death thrash song. It is almost more thrash, but then it gets more death metal. But yeah, I love that band. I wish that Texas Pinball Festival wasn't the same time as Hell's Heroes every year. I would have gone to see them. But yeah, I also pulled probably one of my favorites that I've ever heard from Texas. Super underrated.
That's Turbid North.
Yeah, we just talked about that last week.
North, yeah.
That's a great record.
I know where you can get one. County Line Records has a couple of them still sitting in the bin.
I think this one's on red.
Yeah.
And they're also Dallas, right? They were Fort Worth.
Yeah,
maybe?
they were Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Is it Mammoth?
Was that album you were showing called Slay? I'm sorry. Was that album called Slay in Hell?
Slay in Hell.
Steel Bearing Hand, yeah. Slay in Hell.
Hand,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Is it Mammoth Grinder a Texas band too?
Yes.
They are. I think they
Oh,
were
right on cue, man.
Is that
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mammoth
That's
Grinder,
hilarious.
Hatred Surge.
I'm telling you, you got to have me back anytime, man. I'll be ready for this. But yeah, Mammoth Grinder and Hatred Surge, both Austin. Mammoth Grinder's got the drummer from Power Trip on vocals.
Well, Mammoth Grinder is cool because they got a little hardcore in their sound too. It's kind of like
Oh,
hardcore
yeah.
mixed with death metal.
Yeah.
Really cool
Yeah,
sound.
definitely. A lot of single pedal drumming, but really, really fucking heavy. But this right here to me is probably the best split that's ever been created in human history. So
Wow.
check this out. I will stand on business when I say that.
I agree. That thing's pretty good. Man, it's got a saw blade cover. Of course it does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many saw blade covers I have over here, but I have a few. But let's see. I think this one I should definitely mention. And I'll let Phil talk to. Sorry, but yeah, this is Eternal Champion.
They have a new record coming out soon.
I know. Yeah, the what is it called? Friend of War. They just released a single.
Yeah, the single. Yeah.
This is a testament to Forbode's last song on Pit of Suffering, which is called Bane and Hammers. I kind of wanted to write something in the vein of something medieval, something to do with war, but something to do with revenge. And that's only continued into Hammerthrone. If you read the lyrics, it's kind of like a concept album, and I've kind of thought of it as like a origin story for the story behind Bane of Hammers, the lyrics that are on Hammerthrone. So I'm really inspired by Jason Tarpey and Eternal Champion. I have his books. He made my mic stand. He made my wedding ring. Like, he's a good friend too, and just like a band that will probably always influence my lyrics, probably from now on. And yeah, so check out Eternal Champion. They're the shit.
Well, got time for one more?
Let's see. I don't know, Phil. Do you have any records you want to talk about, like that influenced you and Hammerthrone?
I mean, I grew up on all like the classics. I don't have any records behind me or anything like that. I don't have a very extensive record collection. Mine was all CDs.
Not yet.
Oh, you're
Yeah. You got me inspired. I mean, I've got a small one that's kind of growing, and I've got the record player you got for me, which is awesome. But
I guess
yeah,
I'll just shout out one more guy. This is the guy I do everything for. This is Jerry Jeff Walker. Country music, outlaw country music.
ain't nothing wrong with that.
This guy changed my life. I have every single one of his records on vinyl that's ever been pressed. He has a lot that weren't pressed, but this is my favorite record. It's called Riding High.
Do you know him, Steve?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Jerry
Steve's
Jeff writes.
A country fan.
Yeah, it's amazing songs. Just makes me feel good when I listen to it. And yeah, I don't know. I try to bring the vibe of all of those records I just showed you to what I do, at least. So
Yeah, I think it's important that you sort of cleanse your palate occasionally, and Jerry Jeff Walker would definitely do that, considering the heaviness of what you're doing and what you normally listen to. But I've got my my little hidden.
Looks like that Slay in Hell album is sold out everywhere. I can't find it.
Yeah,
oh, man.
I mean, I could send you some tracks, but
Yeah, it's
that
all right.
would be-
I'll find it.
that would be the best I could do.
No, I don't ever listen to digital. So I
you can.
get the tracks and then I forget about them.
I'm sure you can find a copy on Discogs. I try to stay off.
Yeah,
Discogs
I'll find a
lately
copy.
because
It's just not available direct from the band. That's all.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that thing's sold out.
What are you
It'll
talking
be
about?
repressed. I'm sure it's got to be
Steel
repressed.
bearing hand.
Oh,
Do they have EP?
I think I may be able to get you a copy. I think the store that I took John to here has a couple copies of it in the bins.
Oh, really? Cool. Yeah, the band is sold out. Let me know. I'll shoot you some cash.
Do they have the EP?
No, I think they just have the album there.
No, I'm asking Scott if the band has the EP available online.
Oh yeah.
If you see that 7-inch of Kiss covers, though, it's great.
Oh yeah,
That's already in my cart. I was looking to put it in with something else,
Oh, is like the 7 inches in there?
Yeah, they still have they have like 5 copies. So yeah,
It's awesome.
Yeah, the EP has a Motorhead track on it that's pretty good. In fact, it's called The Hammer. It's not Bane of Hammers, but it's called they do The Hammer by Motorhead.
cool. Anyhow, I need to stop shopping while we're online. While we're
it's a good way to find a way to make me add that.
DJ's dropping vinyl bombs on us here. He's giving us a lot of.
I know. Making me spend money.
Here's
I guess that's what we do to everybody else all the time. So I guess
here's one last one because you had Johnny Kelly on last week. I tried to get y'all's attention in the comments, but I remember Johnny Kelly's talking about how he was looking for a version of Peter singing Matchstick Men. That's on this vinyl right here. This is the October Rust demos. This is crazy. It's got like a bunch of demos from October Rust, and it's got like some live tracks of Love You to Death and Wolf Moon, but it has Matchstick Men with Peter on vocals. So it is out there. I don't know. I don't know where this came from. Somebody gave this to me for my birthday. I don't know if it's a bootleg or what. It just says product of vinyl on the back. All love ends in pain, and that's it, man. So
it's a special pressing.
It's a European pressing, as they like to say.
Special pressing.
yeah, it's got to be.
Don't say
it's on a
bootleg.
really,
They don't like that word.
Yeah, it's on a really cool.
Of course.
So, but yeah, it's my favorite band ever. So I had to show at least one typo.
Yeah, I live with one of those. A typo negative fan, super fan.
So one of my Scott's buddies, Dwayne, has all of their. He's got signed copies of every one of their records. So jealous of it. Yeah.
Man.
He went to their shows every time they were at. Where's he? Wherever he lives in Cali. He'd go to all of their shows, and he'd always do like meet and greets and stuff and get them signed. And the back of his wall, he's got every one of their records signed.
Yeah, it's awesome. I only have one. I don't know where it is. I'll have to look for it. But shout out to Leslie up there in DFW. Rest in peace. The last time that she hosted Forbode at her house, she gave me a signed copy of World Coming Down, and I was in tears, to be honest with you. So
I do have something. I almost forgot about it.
Okay.
But I have is it blurring it out? It's a signed copy of Warning.
Yeah, the filter's blurring it out.
It's inside the protective sleeve. Watching from a distance. Warning.
Oh, now we can see it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Perfect down there.
Yeah.
If you leave it in front of you, it keeps it.
Yeah.
I got the Warning box set right there, man. That's an amazing band. And then there's the typo box set right there. So, yes. We'll have to.
You must have freaked out a little bit last week when he said he's got full songs they recorded and mixed and they never release ever.
I mean,
I tried to get him to call me back. I said, "Hey, I'm just down the road. I can help you with that."
Yeah, I was really trying to get all your questions in, man. But he was talking, so it was great. He was talking a lot.
Yeah, that was a great show.
You gotta get him back. Sure, he's got
here. I need to find tell. So we got to get out of here. We're over an hour already. So anyhow, but appreciate you guys coming on. It's nice talking some death metal and get me buying more records so my wife can shoot me. It's the way we do it all the time to people. I get that comment all the time when we show records on our videos. Great, now I gotta buy more records.
The worst is when I get a package like a month later. I'm like, what the hell is it? What is this? Where did I order this? And I'll remember it's from one of our episodes.
I didn't show this on camera yet, but I'm super excited. I got this.
Oh, wow.
So
what is that?
Aerosmith.
This is the Aerosmith Dream On Aerosmith self-titled box set.
Wow.
I'm a Aerosmith fanatic, so
I will say, Scott, I'm not the biggest Aerosmith fan, but I was rummaging through a sale. I think it was an estate sale, and I found a copy of Rocks. And I remember you talking about it all the time on this channel, so I bought it and I play it all the time. I love it. So
that's a great record.
That might be my favorite. That and Get Your Wings.
And it's pretty heavy for 1976.
Seriously, yeah, it's great.
Yep. So cool. All right, why don't you take us out, John? So you know how to do all that. Now I'm going to pull up all the stuff.
Phil, TJ, thanks for joining us today on the Metal Roundtable. We've had a great time, and you guys are, man. I'm so excited for you. Not just because I get to buy new music and hopefully get a tape, but you guys are local, so it's realistic for me to actually drive and see a gig at some point, which I hope we both can do. Steph and I go to a lot of shows. We don't go to as many as we used to, but because life kind of gets in the way. But man, we're excited about the new release of Hammerthrone, and can't wait to hear all the influences that have come into fruition. But so Phil and TJ, where can they get a hold of you if one of our listeners wants to drop you a note or I guess Bandcamp? Is that probably the best place to find you?
Yeah, we got the Bandcamp set up. It's hammerthronetx.bandcamp.com. Our Instagram is hammerthronetx also, and that's pretty much it so far. I don't think we're going to do the Facebook thing. It doesn't really get much engagement, so I don't know. We'll see. But those are the two spots, and then we got a YouTube channel. If you look up Hammerthrone TX, and it's Hammerthrone one word, kind of like Dark Throne. So
you've got a release on Friday and a show, your first
April 11th.
April 11th.
Lost Well in Austin, Texas.
And that's a great venue, by the way. Sounds great. We did a show with Pentagram there, and it was
the new one.
Really awesome. What's that?
It was at the new Lost Well. Or was it the old one?
Is there a new one or an old?
Yeah. It's basically a bigger version of the same place.
It didn't seem like the same place that I'd been to 15 years ago, but it was a nice, it had an upstairs balcony and then big area for merch.
Oh,
That sounds like, is that Grizzly Hall?
Come Take It Live? Come Take It Live, I think.
Yeah. Well, it was the Lost Well, according to the moniker, but whatever.
Yeah.
So you're playing the new Lost Well.
Too.
Yeah. So people can hit you up on Bandcamp or on Insta and find out some information on the band. So we look forward to that. Steve-O, where can they get a hold of you?
I mean, Harmless Rebel on YouTube, Harmless_Rebel on Instagram.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. And you can get a hold of me on at carcassjohn@hotmail.com. Yes, I still have a Hotmail. And in fact, kind of a big announcement. Well, two big announcements.
Yeah.
128 DB Rock now has a hotline, so you can call it in. You can leave a message. You can get your requests logged in. That's 188 ROCK 128 188 Rock 128. And we just kind of partnered up with Brave Words. If you're familiar with them, bravewords.com.
Bloody Knuckles.
Yep.
And yeah, it used to be Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles. I think that was the magazine, and they dropped the Bloody Knuckles moniker. But we just teamed up with them, so we're going to get a lot more folks listening, I hope. But hit me up at Carcass John's alter ego. Or call and leave a message and let me know what you want to hear. Tonight I'm doing deep cuts from '95, rock, hard rock, and heavy metal stuff. So you never know what you're going to hear on the alter ego, because that's what it is, the alter ego. You could hear Kansas, you could hear Napalm Death, you could hear Typo Negative. In fact, I think I'm doing all three tonight. But anyway, and then there's the Crypt, and that's the heavy stuff. So. Send me your suggestions. I'd love to hear them. But 128db.com, download the free app, and away you go. Crank it up.
Sweet.
Scott?
You can follow me on Instagram at No Life Till Metal, or you can find me on YouTube at No Life Till Metal, or Facebook. I'm easy to find, just either Scott Waters or No Life Till Metal. So, yeah, that's it. Appreciate y'all coming on. That was good hearing from you. It was nice getting into some deep death metal discussion. On usually we don't ever talk about death metal all that much on this program for some reason, despite having Carcass John on here.
Well, I'm just glad it didn't turn into Tiger Tales talk or something like that. But anyway.
Anyhow,
yeah.
Obituary. That's a great album. Anyhow, you guys know how we always end it. So for episode number 306 of the Metal Roundtable, Metal will
prevail. Oh my God. I gotta get that.